Got open man. DJ Moore. End zone. Touchdown. Touchdown Bears.
I am Jeff Joniak.
Blitz is on. Down he goes. Oscar.
What was it like playing for Coach Ditka?
I don't want to answer any questions like that.
Pressure coming. He's in big trouble. Down he goes. Montez Sweat.
Now, Bears Etc. brought to you by Chevy Drives Chicago, the official truck partner of your Chicago Bears.
The 2025 Bears are playoff bound, and it happened in an iconic moment with high stakes. Dial back into two more very important games. Get the focus where it needs to be. All on the table right now. And this episode of Bears Etc. brought to you by ChevyDriveChicago.com, the official truck of your Chicago Bears. Coming up, we will interview Ben Johnson from our weekly visit, and he'll have plenty to say about the game and what's next. And Tom Thayer, there is so much elation citywide, nationwide, worldwide, getting texts from just about every corner of the globe, seeing personal messages sent to me from London, from Switzerland, from the city, from high school friends. I mean, I know you got the same, but this town is lit.
It is, because it's been a long time in coming, and it was talked about when they hired Ben Johnson, but it was hard to really believe. And then all of a sudden you saw these incremental improvements throughout the season, how they figured from the coaching staff, and then how the players started to perform according to the way they're being coached and taught. And then they started getting results because of it. And then when they started getting repeated results because of it, then all of a sudden that bandwagon started moving. People started to jump on. The narrative from around the country started becoming more positive. And then even if they didn't consider the Bears a threat from the next opponent, they became a threat. And it's been exciting to watch as an alumni, as a Bears fan, and as a resident. So, I mean, I just love everything I'm seeing out of it. And I don't think this is a bunch that becomes overconfident and happy with where they're at. I think they feel that there's so much more to go, and I do think that's a refreshing message to the Bears supporters.
I 100% agree. This coaching staff, one Ben calls a five-star staff. They're not going to let that happen. These players, and there are 14 players I counted up that have playoff experience, several like Joe Thuney, who was highly decorated and has played 26 playoff games in his career. They also will lend a hand in that regard because it's the first time since 2020 the Bears are playoff bound. Cole Kmet, the only one on the team at that time. And this is an improbable, remarkable, pinnacle moment we just saw. Hard to win that game the way they did. They did it the hard way. For the sixth time this year, an NFL record in a single season. And Caleb Williams led the Bears pulling it off. And Aaron Rodgers gave the Bears a little Christmas gift, a little package with a win over the Lions in Detroit with that win there. So it all came together, and it just feels great.
But to me, it's like a first edition book. This is not something that has been already written and they're just, kind of republishing that. And whether it's you have experiences of Joe Thuney or you have no NFL playoff experience like Caleb Williams, I think with this coaching staff, with the new construction of the locker room, everything that goes into having an organization being pointed in the right direction of success, that they've been able to do it. And like I said, I just think the culture is different, but this is a first edition book that we're all reading for the first time.
This says something to me. I think it will you as well. So the fan voting came out for the Pro Bowl. The Bears had the most fan votes of any team and the highest number of players with the highest vote total at their position. 12 Bears were top vote getters at their positions. Caleb Williams, Joe Thuney, Drew Dahlman, Darnell Wright, DeAndre Swift, Nashawn Wright, Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, Tremaine Edmonds, Josh Blackwell, Torrey Taylor, and Devin Duvernay. Now, that accounts as a third of the Pro Bowl vote, but the fans have fallen in love across this country with the Chicago Bears.
They've fallen in love with them, but I think for when a lot of those names that you mentioned, Nashawn Wright or Darnell Wright, it's performance based, because it seems like weekly we talk about something big that all those guys have done. Not to leave out the rest of them. Joe Tooney, he has been one of the most impressive football players that I've seen, and I play that position, and I know what it takes. And Drew Dahlman and the whole crew. I just think that every one of those guys deserve the credit that they're getting, and there's other guys that deserve credit that's not getting it.
Every sip of Blue Moon's Belgian-style wheat ale crafted with Valencia orange peel and coriander is a winning drive for your taste buds. Blue Moon, made brighter, and a proud partner of the Chicago Bears. Okay, so we all agree it's one of the greatest finishes in Soldier Field history, correct?
Yep. Listen, we talked about it in our 25-year history together in broadcasting games. It's probably is the greatest finish in all games we've ever done.
Yeah, and because of who they play, Packers, at Soldier Field, in that environment, on a Saturday night, prime time, on a day you qualify for the playoffs, all of that. We discussed this with Kyle Brandt in our Bears Weekly show that airs on Monday night on ESPN Chicago, but there's just so much about it. I remember that I turned around at one point, or turned to my left for just a second, and you were like right in my face, high five, and I turned my head and I somehow caught your hand because fans were coming into our booth looking for high fives. And you know what? I loved every second of it because the passion they were showing throughout the course of that game, especially those couple rows in front of us, you don't get that every day. You don't get that every year. And so enjoy the moment, even for what we do. Enjoy the moment. They're so rare.
I don't encourage the climbing in the booth part, but I do just the whole opportunity to share the moment with the fans, because they are head high with us and we get to see them throughout the game. And they were on their feet and they are cheering unlike a crowd that I've seen in a while.
All right, let's take a listen to Ben Johnson, the Bears head coach, who takes time every Monday to join us. Bears fans, gear up at the Pro Shops at Soldier Field, your home for officially licensed jerseys, headwear, hoodies, and more. Open daily near the Veterans Memorial Water Wall. The Pro Shops at Soldier Field, a Fanatics experience. Here's our conversation with the Bears head coach. All right, thanks again, Ben. Appreciate it. Bears are a playoff team. First response to that, and have you spoken to George McCaskey?
Yeah. Yeah, we're excited. I think the whole staff was fired up to see, how that Detroit game went, and know that we have assured ourselves a spot in that postseason. That was always the number one goal, was the starting point on that. And now we got secondary and tertiary goals that we're looking to get to as well. So really, really, really good start here to where we are in December here. In terms of George, yeah, I'm happy for him. I thought, and as I talked to him, I thought the coolest thing that happened at that game Saturday night was seeing DJ Moore, or listening to DJ Moore after the game talk about Virginia McCaskey, because that's he's 100% right. I mean, it's a shame that she's not here to witness this firsthand. She made such a significant impact on this organization, and she's a big, we wear those patches each week on our uniforms, in remembrance of her. And so I think it's always a good thing to bring up. It's just, she's such a big part of what we're doing. And I know she's looking down on us and hopefully pretty proud of us right now.
She's enjoying the view, and she'd be super proud of you. I can tell you that right now. You're her kind of coach.
Appreciate that.
So the tertiary and other goals, obviously, they're out there for you to get. Number one seed, if you can pull that off. Home field advantage. And given now that place robustly exploded the last couple of home games, 6-game home winning streak now, you've whet their appetite to show up in full throttle. And so how cool will it be? How cool would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be pretty awesome if we can earn that. It's one of those things that, last week I didn't see anybody leave their chairs, even though the odds were so low there at the end of the game. They were still stayed with us. They kind of know how our team's been all season long. We're never fully out of it until it hits triple zeros. And I hate that we didn't give them more to cheer for in the middle of the game, because they started off so strong and then they finished so strong for us. And so if we do a better job keeping that momentum going throughout the game, I think it'll be really, really fun to watch.
The mindset from the onside kick to recovery as you're getting ready to call what's next. Well, where's your head at?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a couple things going on in your mind. One of which is, hey, if we do recover this, then we're going to be in a pretty good spot. We got timeouts and we got plenty of time, and so you feel really good about that, and potentially opens up your playbook in a major fashion. And then you got to also think in the back of your head, well, if we don't, then that's going to switch our mode into being super aggressive. We need chunks to have a chance. And so, we got great guys in the booth. They really do a great job outlining the situation and what the possibilities are. And it's like, all right, if we get it back, this is how much time. And if we don't, then we need to go 3 and out on defense. And potentially we're looking at, call it 40 seconds with no timeouts to go the length of the field for a touchdown, which that's very challenging. But as a play caller, you're just trying to make sure you're mentally ready for both scenarios and that your players are ready for any of the calls that might come up.
By the way, last time the Bears beat the Packers trailing by 10 in the fourth quarter, 1960.
Wow.
How about this one as well? Only the second team since 1960 to win without forcing a punt and having 100-plus penalty yards. I know these are bizarre, but, our stat guy, Doug Coletti. Well, our stat guy.
I'm not very proud about either one of those two, by the way, but...
I know, right. But it that defined resilience. It's the makeup, it's the trademark of this team, overcoming everything. You get knocked down, you dust yourself off, and you still live to play. Yeah, and I think it's also, you bring up both of those things, and you look. We only gave up 16 points, and so it's great red zone defense. It's still getting another takeaway. It's coming up big on fourth down on defense. And so, it's really outstanding football when you look at it in critical situations. Oh, God, we got to talk about red zone. 0 for 5? Are you kidding me? First of all, that's not happened in the league this year with at least 5 red zone trips.
Is that right?
Yes. And on top of that, 0 for 3 goal to goal, and the Packers entering that game were 21 of 22 scoring touchdowns goal to goal.
Oh, is that right? Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't know that last stat, but no, we talked about it. We talked about it as a staff. We talked about it with the team. It was a big part of our game plan was, we have a lot of respect for their offense and how we want to limit their explosive plays. We felt like the explosive plays contributed us to losing that first game, and so we were intent on not giving up the big ones. Now, with that being said, we still gave up 1 or 2. Over our head there. But we were better as a whole than we were the first game. But when you play the game that way, you might give up some underneath yards, and yet you got to bow up there in the red zone. And so our guys did it. I mean, they answered the bell, and it was really everybody. It was the defensive line, linebackers, and secondary. They all made some massive plays for us.
I'm sure this is an answer that is a yes, but do you design certain plays based on the strengths of your talent at the skill position, like the DJ catch, that you have a greater potential of being successful if it's a good throw?
Yeah. I mean, everything we do has got our playmakers in mind and what they do well. We got plenty of speed. We got plenty of guys that do a great job catching the football. And so we just try to make sure they all have opportunities throughout the game plan to make an impact on the game. And so, when Rome and Luther are out, that gives DJ just a little bit more on his plate. I mean, I think what goes overlooked with him in this particular game, this past game, is one, he gets hurt early. All right. And yet knows how important his presence is for us to win that game. He's a key part of our offensive game plan last week. That's one. And then two, he played every single receiver spot. He was Z, he was X, he was F. Mentally, this was the most challenging game for him. That's really what we needed. We had some young players up, and we just want to have them plugged in on one spot and to make sure that they knew the game plan. And so DJ, he came through for us in a major way that kind of goes overlooked, I think, if you're not in the building.
I feel he's one of the toughest players in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. He's been dinged up occasionally over the course of the season, and yet he just refuses to miss games or miss time. He is so tough.
I know you mentioned this in the news conference, so you want to iron some things out. You're not where you want to be. what will it take to iron out the things that still trouble you in moments throughout the course of a game, all three phases?
Well, yeah, I think what popped up last week was the penalties were something that I thought we'd gotten a handle on over, call it the last month of the season. We had been one of the least penalized teams, and I thought we got that cleaned up. And these were the ones that really hurt you is when they're the 15-yard variety. So I think that's actually going to be easy for us to get a handle for. Offensively, we had some things in protection that popped up that really hadn't been a problem for us, but we got to talk about it, and we got to make sure we get this fixed, because we had some A gap runners that had no A or B gap runners that had no business having a free run at our quarterback. The integrity of our pockets, everything for us in pass pro. So things like that are where we gotta make sure that we don't allow that to bite us in the rear end, and we will. Those are easy fixes. I think the quarterback continues to get better each week. And I think we're pretty dangerous both in the run game and the pass game right now. Defense is the healthier we get, the better we're going to get. I just kind of alluded to Tremaine, first game back, probably wasn't quite himself, and yet he would tell you as much. And so we know he's going to get better week in and week out from here on out. Jalen got better this week. I bring up Grady Jarrett's playing really good football. So I think physically our guys are really going to start to come on defense here over the next couple games.
It's a play that's going to live in history forever. What's the name of that play?
We just called it wide jersey. The tight end was running what we call a jersey route, which is a throwback. He's selling the over, and then he's peeling back out of it. And on the opposite side there, we had OP. We say opposite pylon.
Okay.
And so it's going to the opposite pylon is our landmark, and so that's where Caleb threw him, and we ended up hitting the big one.
Benefits of seeing the 49ers tonight in a complicated week because it's Christmas, and there's family, there's kids, there's all that on the table you have to be mindful of. Obviously, the team comes first, but also does family.
Yeah, I think we've done a phenomenal job handling distractions all year long. I go back to Thanksgiving week, playing on Black Friday. I actually think it helps a little bit when you're on the road on weeks like this, because it kind of naturally makes sure that you're dialed in. You're at the team hotel, and there's just not as much family that goes on away games. And so I think that's a blessing in disguise. I do want to make sure, because of the uniqueness of this week, it's rare in the NFL that you can have Christmas Day off, and yet we're setting up the schedule to where we're front loading it so that our players do get Christmas Day off and get to spend it with their families. So we'll get that in. It's really important that we do that, and then we'll be able to transition and just focus solely on the game. Call it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
All right. Good luck with your preparation. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
A little interesting things to me coming out of that. One was DJ Moore had to know all three wide receiver positions. And so it was the most mentally challenging week of the year for him. And he handled it like a pro. I believe he had 7 targets, 5 catches, including the most important one. And the one thing about that catch, by the way, too, there is a still shot of the hands of Keshawn Nixon completely covering his eyes. The ball is in the cradle of the hands, but it's not gripped yet. Right. And I don't know. I mean, that's peekaboo. Look what I find. I mean, that's amazing concentration, grip strength, all of that with a man draped all over him. But overall, what is the challenge of a receiver without Luther Burden and Rome Odunze taking the baton and saying, okay, I can handle all of that?
Right. Like you said, Ben Johnson called it the most mentally challenging week of DJ's career, but no better guy that would you like to challenge in the locker room to accept more responsibility, playing every receiver position, having a play like that's designed where when the ball left Caleb's hands, he was on the right hash. He caught the ball outside the left hash. You look at the direction of the flight of the football and the route, it's trust. It's just like the trust of the Jade Walker catch. Caleb was on the retreat and he threw the ball to the area where he knew that the receiver was going to be. It was caught and it was perfectly delivered. And, again, with your interview with Ben, I really appreciate the salute to Virginia McCaskey, because both of you guys know the importance and her role in this organization and how proud she would be of this group. And then when you brought up some of the stats that he was unaware of in the goal to go in the red zone. Even a guy that is so in tune to the game can learn something a couple days after the game that is kind of like a wow stat to him.
I can't wait to see what he's got planned moving forward in the next 2 weeks and into the playoffs. I just can't wait.
Yeah, I did. Listen, like they always say, this is a 1-0 league, and I think the San Francisco game is an enormous game, and that's why it's another nationally televised game. And you think of where the Bears were in terms of the scheduling at the start of the season and how happy they are to have them in these national games or they're moved to the national games. Imagine what the network executives are doing when games like this have the end result.
Tom, they repaid a ravenous crowd last night. They definitely did on Saturday night. 6 straight home wins now. They stuck around for every bit of it. Ben regretted not having as much success in the first 3 quarters. I still think it's crazy that they ran only 30 offensive plays for 3 quarters and then 30 in the fourth quarter in overtime. How in the world?
Well, I think the crowd was a little bit like me. I was disappointed in what was happening. And then when they recovered that onside kick, that stadium blew up.
Yeah.
It got as loud as I've ever heard it. And you think of these guys being able to translate a little bit of frustration into such that ravenous crowd that you talk about, and they never turned it off from that moment on.
Good news, Chicago. United Airlines is getting brand new planes with all the bells and whistles like Bluetooth connectivity, screens at every seat, and room for everyone's roller bag. United, proud to fly the Chicago Bears, and you too. There's a chance the Bears will have Monangai and Swift as both over 1,000 yards from scrimmage this year. DeAndre is going to get it, Monangai within reach. What does that say about their use? And that's two faces, obviously, receiving and rushing, about what Ben is able to get out of the backfield.
I think it's a product of the development of the offensive line, and then Ben realizing that you need 2 ram horses, 2 battling rams, 2 guys that get those dirty yards, that take that 2-yard impact run and turn it into a 6-yard run. So I think it's the perfect combination of Dan Rochar and how he's developed the continuity on the offensive line, and then how these running backs complement what they're being offered, the plays that they're given, how Ben separates their workload. So I'm super excited for all the guys that take that into account. And you have to include the tight ends. You have to include the wide receivers. But I'm really happy that these 2 running backs have been able to come in and have a veteran shine like DeAndre Swift, and a guy like Monangai that proved Ryan Poles, you were right in picking me.
Yeah, 4th leading rusher among rookies in the NFL right now, approaching 800 yards. But on his 12 touches on Saturday night, he had 5 first downs. And Ben mentioned in another podcast interview I did with him for ESPN that every time he's in the lineup, he does something that energizes the entire team.
He did it with a late first down run in the game the other night. And when the Bears needed a first down at the most important time, he was able to bounce off some would-be tacklers and convert it into a first down run. So there's a lot of runs throughout the course of the season that you remember with both Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift, just like that screen pass that he took the other night and turned it into a play of significance. Yeah. He gets results.
34 yards. Tommy, the Bears allowing just 10 points on opening possessions this season. That's through the first 15 games. No points in 7 straight games, and no first quarter points allowed in 4 straight games. How significant is that when you're talking about needing what you need at the end of the game and you're shutting teams out in the first quarter, shrinking the game a little bit?
It's an amazing stat, and I was not aware of that. And I just think it allows you as an offensive coordinator and a play designer like Ben Johnson to be more aggressive when there's not points up on the scoreboard at those early stages of the games.
All right, I asked Ben this. How do you teach Austin Booker on that particular snap, and you watched it again, maybe more than once on tape, what to do? What's the teaching point? Because that's kind of a bang-bang. Yes, it is a flag. He hit him in the head. But how do you teach that? What do you tell that player so as to not take away his aggressiveness at the same time? I don't know what to say.
It's not a teaching moment. This is a reactionary sport. If you think that you're going to say, okay, Austin Booker, you have to lower your trajectory into the quarterback, or you have to adjust here, it's impossible. Right now, because of the way the officials call the game to protect the quarterback, you just have to go with the speed that you're playing at. If you think that you're going to be able to slow down and still have the same impact in the game, you're not going to do it. So I would change nothing about him.
What if it's what about situational? Say it's late fourth quarter, potential game-winning drive for the opposition.
Do you want to tell one of your premium pass rushers to slow down his approach? No. Are you going to tell anybody, Hutchinson, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, anybody, Montez Sweat, and our guys, slow down your rush because we're worried about a hit like that? No, you can't. You got to let these guys play to their instincts and their aggression.
We focus a lot on offense, obviously. It's Ben's expertise, but defensively, the resiliency of that group is such a big story in this season. And yesterday, or Saturday night, I keep saying yesterday, Saturday night with the 0 for 5 in the red zone, 0 for 3 goal line. But in addition, who's playing well right now that can get on a little bit of a heater headed in to the final couple weeks and into the postseason? I think of Grady Jarrett getting healthier every day. Jalen Johnson getting healthier every week. Ben's really impressed with Montez Sweat's run defense and his ability to sack the passer since the bye week. He's up to 9.5 now, 8.5 since the bye week. Anybody else come to mind? You got Tremaine coming back. TJ looks good, led the team in tackles again. What do you think?
I do. I think if Grady Jarrett, if he can, get healthier and have a little bit more explosiveness at the line of scrimmage, and then you have a guy that can maybe initiate some stunts and games up front with other defensive linemen. Maybe Grady Jarrett can work a little bit of interior defensive line play with Jervon Dexter Sr. He's a guy that maybe he can increase his performance and his contribution to the defense. Guys like Billings have done a nice job on first down as a big-time run stuffer. Austin Booker is, playing at a good level, but he's got to get more out of his ability and trust himself. But to me, I think, you get a guy like Gardner Johnson because he is maneuverable. He is deployable, as you say. He can come and provide some pass rushing, outside threat, or he can have coverage responsibilities downfield. He tapped away the first attempted touchdown pass in the Green Bay the other night. And he's a guy that's really filled the void of Kyler that is paying enormous dividends for Dennis Allen in this defense.
Yeah, I just hope he's okay because he did not finish that game. That would be important to know. Hey, Bears fans, Steinhoffel's a proud partner of the Chicago Bears. This Bears season, Steinhoffel's is partnering with Special Spaces Illinois to create dream bedrooms for children battling cancer. For every false start caused by the Bears defense during a home game, Steinhoffel's donates $1,000 to Special Spaces Illinois. Shop in store and online at steinhoffels.com. All right, let's start looking at the 49ers. As of this taping, they have yet to play the Colts on Monday Night Football, so that'll be an interesting outcome there. They are also trying to finish as the top seed in the NFC, and if they do happen to win all the rest of their games, they will be the top seed. Right now, the Bears are the 2 seed. Seattle's the number 1 seed. It's a 49er team that's endured a ton of injuries. They lost their 2 best defensive players in Bosa and Fred Warner, obviously, but have managed to keep it together, and since Brock Purdy's returned, they are averaging 31 points a game and won 4 in a row.
Yeah, they're creatively coached. They have one of the best offensive linemen in the National Football League in Trent Williams. They have a tight end that's super productive, and he plays that brand of football I think everybody enjoys watching. And like you said, they've been able to fight off the injuries of one of the most dominant middle linebackers in the National Football League in Warner. So, and they have a home supportive crowd. So a lot of it is going to be, can they go to that first series that San Francisco has the ball and shut them down? And then as the game winds on, do you have that running game that's efficient for the Bears so you keep those two guys rolling? And, and Ben's creativity as well. So there's a lot of things that this is unlike any other Bears team that's gone into San Francisco to play. And I think they'll be aware of it, and the Bears will be as well.
Christian McCaffrey leads the league in touches, and he's about to be 1,000-yard and 1,000-yard receiver in the same season again.
Yeah, back to the days of Roger Craig and the West Coast offense and Bill Walsh. You have a guy that has that type of versatility, and he means a lot. And I think he is the guy that was able to stay true to the offense even when Brock Purdy was missing some games and they were playing Mac Jones. So it's a team that's gone through some injury battle ups and downs, and we'll see where they're at next Sunday night.
Some interesting numbers on them because this is a tug of war for time of possession too, because Ben, whether he intends to do it or just happens that way with all the long drives he has and the 5-minute drives and the 10, 15, 17, 18 play drives, 49ers are right behind the Bears in time of possession, and they are 8-1 this season when winning time of possession. And the defense of the Niners have held its opponents to 41 total first quarter points, second fewest in the NFL behind Green Bay. So you go from Green Bay to San Francisco. So there's some challenges in there based on what's the flavor the coach wants to go with, right? Because Kyle Shanahan has a certain idea how he wants to do a game plan, and so does Ben.
Yep. But what did the Bears lose the time of possession battle this past week by about 9 minutes or 10 minutes? So they know that it is an obstacle that they can overcome. If there was a coach out there that could live with one play scoring drives and have 5 minutes time of possession, he would do it. But I think the key component is what is the end results of your time of possession and your drives. I think when you play a team like San Francisco, it's got to be touchdowns rather than field goals.
Yeah, the Bears only had it for 26 minutes, so 11-minute difference.
Yeah, significant.
Yeah, but in the end, Tom, who won? Who won the game? How do you tell a cashier you're a Bears fan without telling them you're a Bears fan? With a Chicago Bears PNC Bank Visa debit card, which gets you exclusive discounts on Bears merchandise. Find out more at pnc.com/BearsCard. My final thought with you, Tom. I know you've taken a while. You started that process the week of the Packer game about it's okay now to dream big. Yep. You're a playoff team, all right? You're going to the playoffs. Go for it all. Ben even said it. We got additional goals to reach here, and that is the number 1 seed, home field advantage. They'd love to have a home game. I think Ben is blown away by the crowd when it's engaged as it has been this season, what that advantage could be like, especially in January in Chicago. We don't know what you never know what you're going to expect for weather, just like in Buffalo in the AFC or Pittsburgh in the AFC. So where is your mind allowing yourself to go here about this football team?
I like Ben's approach in the locker room right after the game. As exciting of an atmosphere as it was, he told these guys we have a long way to go. We got a couple big games ahead of us. Let's get prepared for the San Francisco 49ers. And so there's 2 key ingredients here. If you can go and beat the 49ers at their home, then you're showing everybody that you are capable of going into a hostile environment against a playoff team and going toe-to-toe with them. And then you talk about the last game of the year and the Detroit Lions. This is a team that beat you pretty convincingly on their turf early in the construction of this team. What do you do to them now in the last week of the season? Because it's 2 completely different teams when you talk about week 2 of the NFL season to week 17 or 18, whatever it is. So I just think there's a lot you can do still to prove some points around the league and to yourself in these final 2 weeks.
And if you didn't know it, the Super Bowl will be in Santa Clara. And you just wonder if the thoughts of that sneak in, right? Hey, we're going to go take care of business here, and we're going to come back here.
The head equipment manager, Tony Medlin, saying, I'm just going to keep a couple trunks here in the back of the locker room because we'll be back to use them in a few weeks.
Oh, my God. Good news, Chicago. United Airlines is getting brand new planes with all the bells and whistles like Bluetooth connectivity, screens in every seat, and room for everyone's roller bag. United, proud to fly the Chicago Bears, and you too. Anything is possible right now. So Tom issued a statement by way of text to anybody involved with the Bears broadcasts, whether it be the TV show on Fox. Nobody take any vacation in January. Will that include February as well, Tom, just to be safe?
I'm planning on it. I always set my schedule 2 months in advance anyways.
All right, thanks so much to Ben Johnson, the Bears head coach. For Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Thanks for listening, everybody. Please subscribe now on the Chicago Bears official app, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Bear down, everybody.